A strange report. When Allied forces processed a small group of Japanese women captured in the Pacific, one interpreter wrote something unusual in his daily log. A woman had approached him, shaken, and said he wanted to see my legs. No context, no explanation, just that. The other women reacted with the same unsettled silence. For a while, no one understood what she meant. Stay until the end to find out why the truth, when it finally surfaced, surprised everyone. The women who weren't supposed to be captured. These women were not frontline fighters. They were nurses, clerks, and communications staff attached to collapsing Japanese units. They had been told surrender was shameful. They had been told capture was worse. They had been told Americans were unpredictable and dangerous. So when US troops found them hiding near a damaged medical station, the women were terrified. They bowed deeply, trembling. Some apologized repeatedly. Some refused to speak at all. The Americans didn't understand the fear, not yet. A holding area full of questions. The women were moved to a temporary Allied holding site, a place meant for short-term processing. It wasn't a prison. It wasn't a big facility. It was simply a fenced-off area with tents, water barrels, and a few wooden benches. But to the women, everything felt foreign. Only a few did understand some parts of the language, but most didn't understand the procedures. They didn't understand why the guards seemed calm. They expected shouting. They expected anger. They expected punishment. Instead, they were told to rest. This only made them more suspicious. The Americans' strange behavior. The women noticed something odd about the US soldiers. They didn't stare. They didn't crowd them. They didn't bark orders. They kept a respectful distance. They spoke softly. They even smiled, which confused the women more than anything. One Japanese POW woman whispered, "Why are they acting like this?" Another replied, "It must be a trick. I think they're planning something." Their fear didn't come from what the Americans did, but mostly from what they didn't do. The medical checks begin. After 2 days, American medics began routine health inspections. Many of the women were dehydrated. Some were malnourished. Others had injuries from long marches, collapsing shelters, or shrapnel from earlier bombardments. The medics worked quickly and professionally. They checked pulses. They cleaned wounds. They examined bruises and swelling. But to the women, who had never been treated by foreign men and who had been taught to fear them, the experience felt strange, unfamiliar, and unsettling. And then came the moment that confused everyone. He wanted to see my legs. During one of the medical rounds, a Japanese POW woman returned to the group looking pale and unsettled. The others asked what happened. She whispered only, "He wanted to see my legs." Nothing more. The women exchanged uneasy glances. No one asked questions. No one explained anything. They simply fell silent. Japanese women place great emphasis on modesty, especially concerning their legs and feet. For the rest of the day, the group avoided the American medic. They huddled together, whispering, watching him from a distance. The interpreter noticed the sudden tension, but the women refused to speak about it. Not yet. It wasn't until the next morning, when he found the young woman sitting alone, that he gently asked her what she meant. This time she answered. She said, "He was checking for swelling." The interpreter blinked. She continued, "My legs were swollen from walking for days." He pressed on them to see if the swelling stayed. He said it meant I needed rest and more food. She looked down, embarrassed. "He apologized for it," she added quietly. The other women, overhearing, stared in disbelief. The medic hadn't been harsh. He hadn't been angry. He hadn't been inappropriate. He had been worried. The unsettling part wasn't what he did, it was how professional he was. The women had never expected kindness from the enemy. A new kind of shock. That sentence, "He wanted to see my legs," was never meant as an accusation. It was a confession of confusion, a moment of honesty from someone who had spent years being told that the enemy was incapable of compassion. A moment where fear collided with reality, and reality won. For these women, surrender had been unthinkable. Capture had been terrifying. And the idea that American soldiers might treat them gently, that was something they had no preparation for at all. But instead of cruelty, they found structure. Instead of anger, they found patience. Instead of humiliation, they found a medic kneeling in the dirt, pressing gently on a swollen leg and apologizing for causing discomfort. Their story is a reminder that war is fought by nations, but lived by people. People who, even on opposite sides, are capable of moments of quiet humanity that history rarely records. And in this case, all it took to reveal that truth was a medic, a swollen leg, and a sentence that meant something very different from what everyone assumed. This is a true World War II story inspired by real encounters between Japanese women and US medics. Moments that began in fear and confusion but ended in surprising humanity. Because sometimes the most unsettling thing is unexpected humanity. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more true World War II stories.